Hi, Miss. Today we are going to talk about the topics that's closely related to both communication and psychology, social anxiety among young people. And in our daily life, many students feel nervous when speaking face to face, even though they are quite active online. And so to better understand these problems, we have waited the Miss Dolly, a psychology lecturer, to share her thoughts with us. So now let's start with something general and compare with the past. Do you think that today's young people are more afraid of face-to-face communication? And why do you think this change has happened?
Everyone is different, and I think that last time we didn't have computers and we didn't have a lot of technology. So a lot of us know only how to do face-to-face communication, but now we need more. We need to learn how to communicate online. We need to learn how to communicate by calling or texting, and we need to learn how to communicate face-to-face. So maybe some people are more afraid, but I don't think everyone is more afraid. And if they are more afraid because it may be because how you communicate online versus face to face is very different. So maybe it's just learning those skills are very different. Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's really interesting. And I guess that many of the us can relate to that. And speaking of the daily situations, in your observation, what kind of the environments make the young people feel most uncomfortable when talking to others in person? For instance, does it happen more at school, at work, or maybe in the public places?
Um, I think some of the most scary places to communicate would be when you're doing something very important. So if you are going to a public event and you are speaking, that can be makes people anxious. If you are going to a job interview and you have to do well to communicate, it makes us very scared. But sometimes for some students, even just talking with a lot of people who are their age is scary because of the peer pressure. They want to look cool, they want to sound like they are fitting in, and that might make them very anxious as well. So a lot of different places. But usually the one thing that's the same in all those places is it's something very important to the person. So if it's important to them, the anxiety goes up. Yeah.
And yes, so for us, many students are very nervous when we give presentation. So I
Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
yes, really for the Chinese people. And so I see, and nowadays the social media plays such a big part in our communication, and we are
Yeah.
constantly chatting online, but not seriously face to face. So I'm
Mm.
curious, how do you think about the social media and online communication have influenced the young people's willingness or ability to talk in real life?
Mm. There is good and bad to everything. Some of the good things about online communication and social media is that you learn how to speak to many, many different people because when you're online, you don't have to only speak with people in your own country. You speak to people around the world and you can speak to people from different jobs or different degree programs. So there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of good opportunities, but of course the way that we communicate online is different because I am looking at a screen to you right now. I'm not looking at your eyes, right? So it's very different how we communicate. Sometimes when we type or when we message, people cannot hear our voice, so they don't know, are we being serious? Are we laughing? Are we angry? So it's very hard to understand unless we see face to face. So I think that there's good to the social media and online chatting. It gives us more knowledge, more confidence, but sometimes it also makes us think that that is only one way to communicate, but there are so many ways to communicate. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like that. Online chatting makes the things easier, but maybe it also creates the distance. And So,
Great.
from a psychological point of view, what do you
Mm,
think are the main causes behind this fear of face-to-face communication? Is it
mm,
more about the lack of the confidence,
mm,
limited experience, or maybe the social pressure?
mm. That's a good question. I think that anxiety comes from not knowing how to do it. So I think a lack of experience is what might cause more anxiety. So, for example, when I was growing up, I grew up for up to age maybe 14 or 15, and I only had the telephone. I didn't have smartphones, I didn't have tablets. Only at age 15 did I get a handphone to communicate. So I learned for a lot of my young life how to speak in person or to use the phone, right? But people these days, children and teenagers and young adults like you who are growing up, they have mix. They have to talk in person, they have to communicate. So the amount of experience is less because you're spending maybe 50% here and 50% there instead of 100% of the experience. So it depends on how you were brought up. Maybe in some countries, the culture allows you to talk a lot and to be able to share your opinions. But in some countries like Malaysia, a lot of Asian families say, oh, maybe you can communicate more politely, more respectfully. You don't talk a lot. So the practice is also very little. So I think it's a lot to do with practice. If you have more practice as a child, you have more confidence and more social success. But if you didn't have a lot of time or you spend a lot of time online, you have less practice, less confidence, and that's because you have less experience.
Yeah. So for us students, we spend so much time in classrooms.
Mm.
And so how do you think the school's education or classrooms interactions affect the students' confidence in communication?
Oh, it makes a big difference because when we start getting older, we spend more time in school, and that means that not only are we at home, we are in school. So school education plays a big influence in making sure students learn how to do activities that have a lot of interaction, to teach them how to communicate. And maybe sometimes we grow up and the teachers say that we will just know how to communicate, we'll just naturally learn. But actually, it's a lot of teaching on how to speak, how to write, how to read, and how to listen, which is also part of communication. So it's really a big deal that whatever schools are doing, they must mix a lot of opportunities for students to practice communication. So at least even if it's difficult now, it will be easier later.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
Mm,
besides the schools, families are also plays a huge role in the
mm.
shaping how we communicate. And so, do you think that families, education, or peer relationships influence the young people confidence when they speaking face to face?
Definitely. How our parents speak to us is the first way that we learn. We are learning from our parents how to speak. So if our parents are very confident and they teach us how to speak and be confident, we will follow it because we are the closest to our parents when we are growing up. But if our parents are not very good at communication and they are very angry all the time, or maybe they don't know how to use the right communication
Yeah.
style, we will follow because we are small and we are looking at them. Oh, that's how I talk. So we have to very much give our families a lot of opportunity to learn how to communicate in different styles as well, and that would make a huge difference. Mm.
Yeah, we look the parents the那个 most
Yes,
and
correct.
yeah. So speaking of that, I wonder is the social anxiety something that most young people experience at some point, or is it mainly a problem for a specific group?
It can start from young because we learn about social interactions from very young. Not everybody will have social anxiety, Even older people will sometimes have it because of maybe something very bad or something traumatic happening to them. But it can start from very young. So social anxiety happens when um, they are afraid to be in social environments, when they're scared to talk to other people. And I think that if we are trying our best to help our young people to learn the skills how to do it, it will be a bit less. But it is also a biological mental health condition. So it's not just about what we teach, but it's about their physical health, their brains. It's also about what is their personality like. Some of us are happy to talk to people. Some of us are very shy, and that's a very normal part of every human's life. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's a mix.
it's decide what to happen to them. Yeah,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I guess these issues might even affect people's future. And in the long run, if young people continue to avoid the real life communication, how
Mm.
can include this the career development or even the mental health?
Oh, communication is a big deal. It is very important because we are growing in a world full of technology, and someday the technology will take over some of our work. So, for example, technology can help us to maybe it can help us to cook more food. We don't need people to cook so much food anymore, or it can help us to do medical work, and the people are not so important. So then, if technology is doing all of that labor or that work for us, we need to know how to be human. We need to communicate because even if you know how to cook, even if the robot knows how to cook food, the robot doesn't know how to explain the food or talk about the story of the food to the customer. So that is our job. Our job is as humans is to be good at communicating to other people. And if young people say that, oh, not so important, I can always hide and talk on a computer, I don't need to talk to anyone, it will affect their mental development. It will cause them to be more lonely, more confused. And if you want to be good in your career, you have to learn how to talk to people. Someday you might have people that work for you. You are the boss.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to work with people, or everybody will suffer. Everybody will have trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, so the communication is a serious question in nowadays. And
Yes.
yeah, some people also mention that the cultural background is matters. For example, that in Chinese culture, people tend to
Mhm.
avoid the mistakes or feel the embarrassed to speak up. And so
Mhm.
I do think the cultural factors make the young people more hesitant in face-to-face communication.
I agree with you because I grew up in a Chinese household, and the older family members would say, "Oh, young people don't talk so loud, be very polite, be very quiet," right? So I
Yeah,
grew up quite
right.
nervous. I was a bit shy when I was growing up, but now I'm a teacher, so
Yeah,
I think that yeah, I think
avoiding
yeah, yeah, yeah.
wants to communicate with
Um,
the students.
yeah, cultural factors are one of the reasons why we become a people. Our personality, our experience is partly because of our culture. Um, but I also think that if young people are aware of their cultural factors, they will do very well at speaking face to face. So we have to teach them that actually, although we are in a very in an Asian culture where it's a lot of modesty, a lot of being polite, that's actually a good thing because when you grow up, although you must learn to speak confidently, everyone will respect you if you respect them. And that is what our culture teaches us. So when we grow up or when we are learning about communication in school or with our family, it's not a bad thing all the time. We should learn that culture also shapes us to be good people, any type of culture. But it's only if we don't know that, oh, we have to be louder or quiet, we don't know, right? Then we don't learn how to communicate. then it's not culture anymore. We have to understand how to be using communication skills for the right problem or the right situation.
Yeah, it's a really insightful perspective. And so for the last questions to wrap up, what kind of the practice advice would you to give the students who wanted to overcome the social anxiety and become more confident in the real life communication?
My suggestion, I have a one or two suggestions. One of them is to find someone older who is very good at communication. This can be a teacher. This can be maybe your uncle or your parents. It can be somebody, for example, in Taylor's University, you have a student service for careers counseling. So someone who is good at communication and to learn from them. It's very scary to learn from a lot of people. You might get confused or you might not know what to do. But if you learn from one person, they will teach you and slowly help you practice. And then they will share with you what is good that you do and what you need to improve. I think having a mentor, someone who is older and more experienced, is a really good way to do that. So that's one of my suggestions. And another one is um, actually, we can use online tools. There are a lot of apps, a lot of websites that teach us about language, and some apps even connect you to people online and they practice their communication with each other. So, for example, if I don't understand how to speak Chinese, some of the apps will connect me to someone maybe like you, and then you will teach me how to use the language, how to be more confident. And that is using still digital communication, but learning how to talk face to face with another person, and then you practice in real life. So online the tools and social media doesn't have to be bad. It can be very useful, but I always think it's good to work with somebody in real life as well.
Yeah, thank you, Miss. So all of the questions has finished. And thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And your thoughts will be really helpful for understanding how can we support the young people to become more confident in face-to-face communication. So really thanks, Miss.
Yeah,
We,
well, you're very
uh,
welcome, and thank you for inviting me. Good
yeah.
luck with your homework, with your assignment.
Oh,
I
yes,
hope it
have a
goes
good
well.
day.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye-bye.